If someone had told me years ago that I would spend 2 months in a nursing home at 77 years old, I would have laughed it off. Not because I thought myself invincible, but because I never imagined that life had such a lesson waiting for me. I believed I had it all figured out. But life, in its quiet wisdom, has a way of humbling even the most prepared souls. What started as a temporary stay for recovery turned into an experience that reshaped my entire perspective on aging, relationships, and what truly matters. I witnessed loneliness, resilience, regret, and deep wisdom within the walls of that nursing home. Some of the stories I heard still echo in my heart, carrying lessons I wish I had learned earlier. Today, I want to share these lessons with you, not to instill fear of aging, but to inspire you to live with greater purpose and clarity. Whether you are young or already on the path of aging, these lessons will inevitably touch your life one day. The question is, will you be ready? Lesson 1. Loneliness is the greatest disease. When people think of a nursing home, they often imagine medical care, structured routines, and trained staff. These facilities are designed to provide physical comfort, ensuring that residents receive their medications, eat balanced meals, and have assistance with daily activities. However, the true battle within these walls is not fought against illness or physical frailty, it is against loneliness. Loneliness is a disease that doesn't appear on medical charts, but its effects are just as devastating as any chronic illness. Studies have shown that prolonged loneliness can increase the risk of dementia, heart disease, and even early mortality. The human mind and body are wired for connection, and when that connection is lost, the consequences can be severe. I met a man named George who had been living in the home for 3 years. His children visited twice a year, on Christmas and his birthday. The rest of the time, he sat by the window, watching cars pass by, hoping that one might stop for him. The routine never changed. He woke up, ate breakfast in silence, walked the halls aimlessly, and returned to his chair by the window. One evening, as I sat with him, he opened up about his past. "I spent my whole life building wealth, ensuring my children had everything," he told me. "But I forgot to build relationships. Now I have money in the bank, but no one to share a meal with." His words hit me hard. We often measure success in terms of financial achievements, career milestones, and material possessions, but in the twilight years of life, those things lose their value. What truly matters is the love and companionship we cultivate along the way. George's story is not unique. There are countless elderly individuals in nursing homes who are physically cared for, but emotionally abandoned. Their bodies are supported, but their spirits wither from lack of human connection. The problem isn't always intentional neglect. Life moves fast, families get busy, children grow up, start their own families, and assume their parents are doing fine. Calls become infrequent. Visits are reserved for special occasions. Before anyone realizes it, weeks turn into months, months into years. And an elderly parent, once the center of a household, becomes an afterthought. Modern society often prioritizes independence, self-sufficiency, and productivity. But in our pursuit of personal success, we sometimes forget that relationships require time, effort, and presence. We assume our loved ones will always be there, that we can make time later. But later has a way of slipping through our fingers. Despite the devastating effects of loneliness, the cure is simple: human connection. A single conversation, a heartfelt hug, a handwritten letter, or an unplanned visit can transform someone's entire outlook on life. I remember another resident, Margaret, who found joy in small acts of connection. She would knit scarves and leave them in the common room for others. She loved sharing stories about her childhood, and her eyes would light up whenever someone took the time to listen. One day, I asked her why she always made an effort to talk to others. "Because I know what loneliness feels like," she said, "and I never want someone else to feel invisible." Margaret's words taught me something important. Presence is a gift. It costs nothing, yet it is invaluable. Taking the time to truly see someone, to acknowledge their existence, can be the difference between despair and hope. If I could go back, I would have spent more time nurturing friendships, showing up for family gatherings, and making memories instead of simply making money. Because one day, when all the noise of life fades, relationships will be the only thing that remains. True wealth isn't measured in bank balances or material possessions. It is measured in the number of people who genuinely care about you, who will sit with you in silence when words are not needed, who will hold your hand when life feels heavy. As we move through life, we must remember to invest not just in our careers, but also in our connections. Reach out to an old friend, visit your parents without a reason, listen to the stories of those who feel forgotten, because loneliness is the greatest disease and the cure is love. Lesson 2. Health is more valuable than wealth. I once met a man in a nursing home who had been a highly successful businessman. He had spent his life building an empire, accumulating vast wealth, and enjoying all the luxuries money could buy. He owned multiple properties, luxury cars, and had traveled to some of the most exotic places on earth. On the surface, his life seemed enviable, a model of success as defined by society. Yet when I met him, his reality was starkly different. Now, in his late 70s, his once vibrant energy had faded. His wealth, which had once seemed limitless in power and possibility, could do nothing to restore his declining health. He could no longer walk without assistance. Simple tasks like eating or getting dressed required help. The independence he had once prided himself on was gone. His body, weakened by years of neglect, had become a prison. And perhaps most painful of all, he had no close relationships left to comfort him in his final years. His biggest regret? Neglecting his health when he was younger. I thought money could fix everything, he admitted. I worked tirelessly, often skipping meals, sacrificing sleep, and ignoring the signs my body was giving me. I told myself that once I reached a certain level of success, I would slow down and take care of myself. But life doesn't work that way. No amount of money can rewind time and undo the damage of poor choices. This conversation left a profound impact on me. Here was a man who had everything, except the one thing that truly mattered. His regrets were not about business deals he had missed or investments that had failed. They were about the moments he had lost by not prioritizing his well-being. Seeing this made me more conscious of my own health and the importance of making it a priority before it's too late. It reminded me that our bodies, like any valuable asset, require care and maintenance. Wealth can provide comfort, but good health determines the quality of life we live. A bank account filled with money means little if you lack the strength to enjoy it. We live in a world that often glorifies success in terms of financial gain. We push ourselves to work long hours chasing promotions, bigger houses, and finer things. We postpone rest, exercise, and self-care, thinking we'll make up for it later. But later is never guaranteed. If we truly wish to live fulfilling lives, we must change our mindset. Health should not be an afterthought. It should be the foundation upon which we build our lives. Lessons learned: 1, prioritize preventive care. It's easier to maintain good health than to regain it once it's lost. Regular checkups, a balanced diet, and exercise should be non-negotiable parts of our daily routines. 2, listen to your body. Fatigue, stress, and illness are ways our bodies communicate with us. Ignoring these signals can lead to long-term consequences. 3, balance work and life. Money is important, but it should not come at the cost of our well-being. Taking breaks, spending time with loved ones, and engaging in activities that bring joy are essential to a healthy life. 4, mental health is just as important. Stress and anxiety, if left unchecked, can manifest in physical illnesses. Meditation, mindfulness, and seeking professional help when needed are crucial aspects of self-care. 5, invest in relationships. Wealth means little if we have no one to share it with. Strong social connections contribute to both mental and physical well-being. True wealth is waking up in the morning feeling energized. It's having the strength to play with your children, to travel, to engage in activities you love. It's having a mind that is clear and a heart that is at peace. No amount of money can buy these things if health is lost. The businessman in the nursing home had learned this lesson the hard way. His words serve as a cautionary tale, a reminder that health is not something to take for granted. It is the greatest wealth we can possess. And unlike material riches, it is something we must actively nurture every single day. If there's one takeaway from this story, let it be this: success is not just measured by the numbers in our bank account, but by the quality of our lives. And without good health, even the most luxurious life loses its meaning. So before chasing after wealth, take a moment to care for the body and mind that carry you through life. because in the end, the greatest investment you can make is in your own well-being. Lesson 3, material things lose their meaning. Before entering the nursing home, I lived in a large house filled with furniture, books, and decorations I had collected over the years. Every room had its own charm, adorned with carefully chosen pieces that I once believed were reflections of my personality and achievements. I took pride in my collection of fine china, antique clocks, and rare books that I had gathered throughout my life. Every item held a memory: souvenirs from travels, gifts from loved ones, and treasures from different phases of my journey. But then, life changed. When the time came for me to move into a nursing home, I had to make difficult choices. My large home, filled with decades of accumulated possessions, had to be left behind. I could only bring a few essentials to my small room. My collection of books, once a source of pride, had to be reduced to just a handful of my favorites. The furniture I had carefully selected over the years was replaced by a simple bed, a chair, and a nightstand. My wardrobe, once filled with clothes for different occasions, was now reduced to just what I needed for comfort. And yet, to my surprise, I didn't miss any of it. For so many years, I believed that these material things were important. They represented milestones in my life, the success I had achieved, the places I had been, and the relationships I had built. But sitting in that small room, I realized that none of it truly mattered in the end. What was once a treasure now seemed meaningless. The things I had worked so hard to acquire did not bring me comfort in my old age. They did not fill the quiet moments with warmth, nor did they offer companionship in the way a meaningful conversation or a cherished memory could. I realized that throughout my life, I had spent so much time accumulating objects, cars, designer clothes, expensive gadgets, believing they would bring happiness. And yet, when stripped of these things, I felt no sense of loss. Instead, I felt a sense of clarity, as if a great burden had been lifted. What truly matters? Looking back, I now see that the greatest wealth in life is not measured by possessions, but by experiences and relationships. The joy of laughter shared with a friend, the warmth of a loved one's embrace, the satisfaction of helping someone in need, these are the things that bring true fulfillment. If I could relive my younger years, I would spend less time shopping for things and more time creating moments that matter. I would travel not for souvenirs, but for the memories. I would take more photographs, not of objects, but of the people I love. I would invest in experiences rather than in things that would one day gather dust. In the end, it is not what we own, but what we have lived that defines our legacy. The stories we share, the kindness we offer, and the love we give will be remembered far longer than any material possession. Letting go of material attachments is not easy. We live in a world that constantly tells us that success is measured by what we own. Advertisements urge us to buy the latest fashion, upgrade to the newest technology, and fill our homes with more. Society often equates wealth with happiness, but the truth is that many of the happiest moments in life cost nothing at all. When I moved into my small nursing home room, I thought I would feel a deep sense of loss. But instead, I felt a surprising sense of peace. Without the clutter of unnecessary belongings, I could focus on what truly mattered: spending time with my family, engaging in meaningful conversations, and reflecting on a life well lived. The process of simplifying my life taught me a valuable lesson. True contentment does not come from possessing more, but from needing less. When we are no longer weighed down by the burden of material things, we gain the freedom to appreciate life's simplest and most beautiful moments. If there is one lesson I hope to pass on, it is this: do not wait until old age to realize that material things lose their meaning. Take a step back and ask yourself, are you living to collect things, or are you living to collect memories? Cherish time with loved ones, because no object can replace the presence of a dear friend or family member. Pursue experiences that enrich your soul rather than objects that merely fill your home. Give more, because generosity brings a kind of joy that money cannot buy. And most importantly, live in a way that when you reach your later years, you will not look back with regret, but with gratitude for a life filled with meaning, love, and purpose. At the end of our lives, it is not the things we own that define us. It is the lives we touch, the love we share, and the memories we leave behind. Lesson 4. Independence is precious. Imagine living your whole life making your own choices, deciding when to wake up, what to eat, where to go, and how to spend your day. Imagine the freedom to engage in your favorite hobbies, take a walk whenever you please, or simply enjoy the solitude of your thoughts. Now, picture waking up one day and realizing that even the simplest tasks, getting dressed, using the bathroom, or eating a meal, require the assistance of another person. One of the most painful realities I witnessed was the loss of independence among older adults. It was not just about physical limitations, but the emotional toll it took on them. I saw strong, capable individuals who had lived full, vibrant lives now struggling with the fact that they could no longer do things on their own. The frustration, sadness, and helplessness in their eyes were heart-wrenching. The loss of independence was not just a change in their lifestyle, it was a shift in their identity, a loss of dignity that was difficult to accept. Losing independence does not just impact physical capabilities, it profoundly affects mental and emotional well-being. Many elderly individuals experience feelings of worthlessness, frustration, and even depression when they realize they are dependent on others. The inability to perform basic self-care can lead to a sense of helplessness. I remember speaking with an elderly woman who had been a teacher for over 40 years. She had dedicated her life to educating and inspiring young minds. Now she needed help buttoning her blouse. Her eyes welled up with tears as she whispered, "I used to be the one people came to for help. Now I can't even help myself." Her words stayed with me. I realized that losing independence is not just about needing assistance with daily tasks. It is about losing a sense of control, of feeling like a burden to loved ones, and grappling with a loss of purpose. This reality should serve as a reminder for all of us to cherish our independence while we have it. The choices we make today will determine the quality of our lives in the years to come. Taking care of our bodies, keeping our minds sharp, and fostering social connections can help us maintain independence for as long as possible. Here are some ways to safeguard our independence. 1. Physical health. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and routine medical checkups can keep our bodies strong and functional. Strength and flexibility exercises can prevent falls, which are a major cause of disability in older adults. 2. Mental agility. Lifelong learning, reading, engaging in puzzles, and social interactions help keep our minds sharp. Cognitive decline is not inevitable. It can be slowed or even prevented through mental stimulation. 3. Social connections. Maintaining strong relationships with family and friends can provide emotional support and prevent loneliness, which is often linked to cognitive and physical decline. 4. Financial planning. Having a plan for the future, including savings and long-term care options, can provide a sense of security and prevent unexpected dependence on others. 5. Emotional resilience. Practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and acceptance can help us navigate the changes that come with aging. I have come to appreciate my independence in a way I never did before. I no longer take for granted the ability to go for a walk whenever I want, cook my own meals, or even tie my own shoes. Every moment of self-sufficiency is a gift. I encourage you to take a moment and reflect on your own independence. What are the things you do daily without a second thought? Could you imagine not being able to do them? How would it change your life? More importantly, what can you do today to protect your future self from unnecessary struggles? Life is unpredictable, but we can make choices now that will help us preserve our autonomy. The key is to start early, to invest in our physical, mental, and emotional well-being so that we can continue living life on our own terms for as long as possible. Because when independence is gone, life becomes a series of limitations rather than possibilities. Let's do everything we can to cherish and protect this precious gift while we have it. Lesson 5. True happiness comes from simple things. One of the most joyful people I met in the nursing home was an 85-year-old woman named Helen. Despite her age and physical limitations, she always had a smile on her face. Her presence radiated warmth, and anyone who spent time with her felt a sense of peace and contentment. One day I asked her, "What's your secret to happiness?" She replied, "I don't think about what I've lost. I enjoy what I still have." Her words struck me deeply. How often do we dwell on what we lack? We compare our lives to others, lamenting missed opportunities, lost youth, or unfulfilled dreams. Helen, despite having lost many things over the years, her mobility, her independence, and even some of her loved ones, had discovered a secret that so many of us overlook. Happiness isn't about what we have or don't have. It is about how we perceive and appreciate the present moment. Happiness is often portrayed as a grand destination, a promotion at work, a dream home, financial success, or even achieving lifelong goals. While these are meaningful accomplishments, they are not the only sources of happiness. In reality, true joy is found in life's simplest moments. A warm cup of tea on a cold morning, the sound of laughter from a loved one, a shared meal with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. These everyday experiences hold profound joy, yet we often overlook them in our pursuit of bigger happiness. Helen's words also taught me about the power of perspective. While some people focus on what they have lost, others find gratitude in what remains. It is a choice, one that defines our emotional well-being. Instead of mourning the past or worrying about the future, true happiness comes from embracing the present and making the most of it. Many older adults face challenges such as declining health, reduced mobility, and the loss of loved ones. Yet, I have met so many like Helen who maintain a positive outlook. Their wisdom teaches us that while we cannot control everything that happens in life, we can control how we respond to it. The modern world often equates happiness with success, busyness, and accumulation. We are bombarded with messages that tell us we need more money, more achievements, more possessions to be happy. However, studies have consistently shown that beyond meeting basic needs, additional wealth and possessions do not necessarily bring lasting joy. In fact, too much focus on external success can lead to stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Helen's life reminded me of the value of simplicity. She found happiness not in having more, but in appreciating what was already there. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals or ambitions, but it does mean we should pause and find contentment in the present moment rather than constantly chasing the next milestone. One way to cultivate happiness from simple things is through mindfulness. Being present in each moment allows us to fully experience life rather than letting it pass us by. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through our phones while drinking coffee, we can take a moment to savor the aroma and warmth of the cup in our hands. Instead of rushing through conversations, we can truly listen and engage with others, appreciating their presence. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in finding happiness. When we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, our perspective changes. Keeping a gratitude journal, where we write down 3 things we are thankful for each day, can be a powerful way to retrain our minds to notice and appreciate the beauty in everyday life. Reflecting on Helen's wisdom, I realized how often I took life's simple joys for granted. I was always striving for the next big thing, believing that happiness lay just beyond my reach. But true contentment doesn't come from achieving more. It comes from embracing what we already have. Helen's life serves as a reminder that happiness is not a distant goal, but a state of mind we can choose every day. It is found in the simple act of breathing deeply, in the laughter of a child, in the warmth of the sun on our skin, and in the quiet moments of reflection. As I continue my journey, I strive to carry Helen's lesson with me, to appreciate each moment, to focus on what I have rather than what I have lost, and to find joy in the simple things that make life truly meaningful. True happiness, after all, isn't something we must chase. It is something we can discover right here, in the present moment. Lesson 6. Forgiveness brings peace. During my stay, I met many people who carried the heavy weight of past grudges. Some resented their children, others harbored anger toward long-lost friends, and yet the ones who suffered the most were not those they were angry at, but themselves. Bitterness is like a poison that lingers within the heart, corroding our well-being. It is a silent thief that robs us of joy, replacing it with unrest. I remember sitting with an elderly man who, despite his years of wisdom, could not let go of a betrayal that had happened decades ago. His friend had once deceived him in a business deal, and though the incident had long passed, the pain remained fresh in his mind. He never apologized, the man told me, gripping his cane with trembling hands. Why should I forgive him? But even as he said those words, his face revealed the exhaustion of carrying such a burden for so long. I also met a woman who deeply regretted not forgiving her sister before she passed away. Now it's too late, she whispered, eyes filled with sorrow. She recounted how they had fought over a minor disagreement, something neither of them could remember clearly. Stubbornness had kept them apart for years. When she received news of her sister's passing, a deep regret settled in her heart, one that no amount of time could erase. She realized then that holding on to anger had not protected her, but instead had only created distance and sorrow. How often do we allow our pride to stand in the way of reconciliation? We tell ourselves that we are waiting for an apology, that we are justified in our anger. Yet in doing so, we chain ourselves to the past, unable to move forward. Forgiveness is not about excusing the other person's actions. It is about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment. It does not mean that we condone the harm done, nor does it erase the lessons we have learned. Rather, it is an act of self-liberation. I once struggled with forgiveness myself. There were people in my life whom I felt had wronged me, and for a long time I held on to my resentment as if it were a shield. I believed that forgiving them would make me weak, that it would mean letting them win. But over time, I came to realize that the only person suffering was me. The anger I carried did not change the past. It did not undo what had happened. It only clouded my heart, keeping me from truly experiencing peace. When I finally let go, I felt as if a great weight had been lifted. The past no longer had control over me. I learned that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is a gift we give ourselves. Because at the end of life, peace is worth more than pride. Buddhism teaches that holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. The Buddha encouraged his followers to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, even toward those who have wronged them. This is not to suggest that we must allow harm to continue, but rather that we should not let anger control our hearts. Metta, or loving kindness meditation, is one way to develop this sense of forgiveness. In this practice, we silently repeat phrases of goodwill, first for ourselves and then for others, including those with whom we have conflicts. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. Over time, this practice softens the heart, making space for forgiveness to emerge naturally. One of the greatest lessons I have learned is that we do not need closure to forgive. So often, we wait for an apology that may never come. We replay old arguments in our minds, imagining different endings. But true healing comes when we decide to release the pain, regardless of whether the other person acknowledges their wrongdoing. A wise teacher once told me, holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy stone. Every day you wake up and carry it with you, growing more exhausted. But at any moment you can set it down. Forgiveness is the act of setting the stone down. It is choosing to no longer carry the weight of anger and hurt. It is allowing ourselves to step forward unburdened and free. As we walk through life, we will all encounter pain, betrayal, and disappointment. But we also have the power to choose how we respond. Will we allow these wounds to define us, or will we choose the path of forgiveness and peace? At the end of our journey, when we reflect on our lives, we will not find joy in the grudges we held. We will find it in the moments of love, in the relationships we cherished, and in the peace we cultivated within ourselves. Let us not wait until it is too late to forgive. Let us release the burdens we carry and embrace the lightness of a heart unchained, because in the end, peace is worth more than pride. Lesson 7, every day is a gift. Don't waste it. One morning, I woke up to the news that a fellow resident had passed away in his sleep. The night before, he had been laughing, sharing childhood memories, and just like that, he was gone. In that moment, I realized how fragile life truly is. We waste so much time worrying, holding grudges, and delaying our dreams. But time waits for no one. We often act as if we have an infinite supply of days ahead of us, pushing important moments and heartfelt conversations to a later time that may never come. We believe we will have tomorrow to say, "I'm sorry, I love you," or "I forgive you." But tomorrow is never promised. Many of us live as though we have control over time, but life is unpredictable. We make plans for next year, for retirement, for some distant future, all while neglecting the present. The reality is that every day is a gift, an opportunity to embrace life in its fullness. Yet how often do we let routine and busyness dictate our days? How often do we rush through life, ignoring the beauty of the present moment? Each day brings us chances chances to love, to connect, to create, and to grow. But we often squander them on trivial concerns: resentment over past wounds, fear of what others think, or endless waiting for the right time. The truth is, the right time is now. The people we love need to hear our appreciation today. Our dreams deserve action today. Our lives deserve to be truly lived today. One of the greatest burdens we carry is regret. We regret the words left unsaid, the opportunities not taken, and the time wasted on things that did not truly matter. We regret letting pride keep us from mending broken relationships, from reaching out to those we care about. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we lived each day as if it were our last? Forgiveness is a gift we can give, not just to others, but to ourselves. Holding on to grudges only drains our energy and prevents us from experiencing peace. When we forgive, we are not excusing someone's behavior. We are choosing to free ourselves from the chains of resentment. Imagine how much lighter our hearts would feel if we let go of old wounds and focused on the beauty of the present. To truly embrace life, we must engage with it wholeheartedly. This means prioritizing what truly matters: relationships, experiences, personal growth, and acts of kindness. It means laughing freely, loving deeply, and savoring each moment. Think about the small joys in life: the warmth of the morning sun, the laughter of loved ones, the kindness of a stranger. These are the moments that make life meaningful. Too often we overlook them in pursuit of grand achievements, forgetting that happiness is found in simple things. Make time for the people you love. Reach out to an old friend. Tell your family how much they mean to you, and be present in conversations. Engage in activities that bring you joy. If there is something you have always wanted to do, don't put it off. Take that trip, learn that skill, write that book, start that passion project. Whatever it is, begin today. When we reach the end of our lives, it is not our possessions that will be remembered, but the impact we had on others. Were we kind? Did we uplift those around us? Did we live with integrity and purpose? A meaningful life is not about accumulating wealth or fame, but about the love we share and the wisdom we pass on. Every day, we have the opportunity to be a source of light to others through words of encouragement, acts of compassion, and simply by showing up with an open heart. The passing of my fellow resident was a stark reminder that life is fleeting. It made me reflect on my own choices and priorities. Am I truly making the most of my days? Am I nurturing relationships? Am I expressing gratitude enough? Am I living in alignment with my values? Since that day, I have made a conscious effort to cherish each moment. I remind myself to say, "I love you" more often, to hold on to joy rather than grievances, and to embrace each day with gratitude. Because when the final chapter comes, it won't be the things we owned, but the moments we lived and the love we gave that will define our lives. Every day is a gift. Let's not waste it. Let's be fully present, love deeply, forgive easily, and live with purpose. Let's cherish the time we have, make it truly count. These 2 months in the nursing home changed me. They opened my eyes to the reality of aging, not as an abstract concept, but as a deeply personal journey that each of us will one day face. I saw firsthand how the quality of our later years is shaped not just by chance, but by the decisions we make every day. It is not just about how many years we have left, but how we choose to live them. Some residents lived with joy and gratitude, embracing each moment despite their physical limitations. Others were weighed down by regret, wishing they had spent more time with loved ones or taken better care of their health. Their stories became a mirror, reflecting the importance of our daily choices. Don't wait until it's too late to appreciate the things that truly matter: your health, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. Take care of your body and mind. Nurture meaningful connections. Live with intention, love without hesitation, and never take a single day for granted. If this message resonates with you, please like this video, subscribe to Buddhist Mindfulness, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's support and inspire one another to live fully and wisely. Until next time, take care and cherish every moment.